All right. Well, live stream part three begins now. Today is Saturday, April 5th, 2025. And this is the third live stream of the day. And I'll try to be more responsive to the troll box, the live comments section. I'll try to be more mindful and answer you guys, those of you who have uh, interesting things to add. I'll try to be mindful of that because the last one I basically just gave you guys a monologue of what I'm thinking, and only looked at the comments afterwards. And some schizoid then claimed that I ended my live stream because of what he was saying about me in the comments. Again, I wasn't even reading the comments, so that's not why I ended the last live stream. That was just meant to be a short monologue. I wanted to get out the information that I was thinking about, and I did. And I wanted to do it in a live way. But no, there's never going to be a situation where somebody says something in the comments. Like so far, the only comment is somebody saying, "Sup, bro? What's up? Hey, what's up? Welcome." You're never gonna, you're never gonna stump me in the comments to where I need to end my live stream, like this random schizo. Some pretty self-important people out there, thinks I ended my stream because he got me good. He got me good. I'm a double agent. For who? Doesn't make any sense. It's dumb. Low IQ. Low IQ discernment, right? Lack of discernment. It's like if I'm controlled opposition, as these randos like to say, why was I banned from everywhere for 8 years? Why was my platform and brand not allowed to grow for the last 8 years until January when Google sent me a letter, nice letter, an apology essentially, and restored all my stuff. It seems like I'm not an insider at all. It seems like that's a person they wanted to get rid of. And then after 8 years, my reach is so small. They say, here, give this guy his shit back. Who cares? It seems like that's what it is. It's like when you get your watch back after you served your time in prison or something, right? You get the shirt you came in with and your watch. That's how this feels, getting a little bit of fame back. It doesn't matter anymore, right? Podesta has rode off into the sunset. George Soros was literally the mentor of the guy who is Trump's treasury secretary. It doesn't matter. All the people with awareness, all the people who had some feeling of how weird the world is, we lost in a sense. We completely lost. And now again, I have to deal with these people who I don't really know where they're coming from. It's like I was pretty impressed with you guys that I posted a couple of videos of the jet on my channel, a couple of videos of the jet, and it was people congratulating me and people saying they're happy for me and my patience and stuff until today, right? So I was actually very impressed by you guys because for some reason, private aircraft brings out a lot of resentment. I don't know why. Uh, you think about it, it's not the worst thing for the environment. And certainly a smaller business jet. It's not arrogant. It just saves me time. And I hate public airports lately. I've had too many situations where the whole day is ruined by somebody else's BS, right? Where it's like some event happens in the security line or the flight's delayed for an unknown reason, or some random fat chick freaks out on your flight and they have to turn the flight around. It's become the public buses of the skies, right? Air travel has gotten so bad. It's like taking a bus somewhere, like an interstate bus with screaming babies and migrants all around you. And I think when you get to a certain point in life where your time is literally worth more than money, which is where I'm at, I don't mind paying more to travel in luxury. I don't. And so I posted those videos because it's a cool hobby of mine, getting more and more into aviation. And it means a lot to me. It made my life a lot more fun in a sense that I can teleport to anywhere in the world with just 48 hours notice to the pilots. That's pretty effing amazing. And so I shared that with you guys, not out of a sense of, like pick me or showing off or, bragging, bragging on the schoolyard. I showed you guys as peers, like look at what finally came in for me. So I was very happy to see that people didn't resent it until today. Now it's some talking point that people are using because I'm against the tariffs. Okay, for some reason I have to fly Southwest forever because I'm against the tariffs. Like that doesn't make any sense. Sounds like just pent up resentment. And why be mad at me? Why be mad at the little guy who finally has enough money for a small jet? And not be mad at the fact that Trump picked a Treasury Secretary who's masterminding this tariff collapse of our economy. And this guy was George Soros's protege, right? What Anakin Skywalker, actually, I'm not going to use a Star Wars analogy here. Point is, the guy was Soros's protege, and he's now running the US Treasury Department. We are so effed. Trump is just either one of them or completely crazy. It's the King Lear, this $10 trillion collapse of the stock market. He's lost me. And if he puts out some posts where he says, sorry, we're going to turn everything back, and then maybe the market will claw back some of the money it's lost, right? If he were to put out an apology tomorrow, which I don't think he's going to do, let's just say he did, right? If he were to do that, the market maybe claws back 20% or something of what it's lost. Not financial advice, just my total guess, right? Claws back some of the money, but then we never trust him again. And people would ask me, why are you so upset about this tariff thing? I thought you had money. I do have money. It's not about the money. It's about Trump fucking lied to us. That's what it is, folks. Like everybody thinks I had some huge stock market wipeout. And that's why I'm pissed off. No such thing occurred. I have plenty of money. The issue is he lied to us. He went on Fox, or he went before the cameras, and Fox was one of the outlets that carried this. People can fact check me to make sure I'm not just, hallucinating here. He went on TV earlier this week before the press and said the market's going to boom. They asked him about his Liberation Day, which was later in the week. What's that about, Trump? What's Liberation Day? The markets are going to boom. Don't you worry about it. Liberation Day is going to be great. And then Liberation Day is a literal steaming pile of shit where US markets lose more than $2 trillion. Two big boys lost in a fucking day. Those are like the losses you get after you lose a world war. Or I shouldn't be that dramatic. Like a regional war. Like if we went to war with Mexico and if we for some reason lost, that's the kind of stock market drop you would see as a result. And so Trump did that. He lied to his base. I don't like liars. So I'm mostly, as you guys know, I made most of my money early on from crypto, from Bitcoin. And yet I've done very well in the stock market. I think stocks are easier than crypto. I didn't know that. Here I'm this weird crypto person who learned about stocks later. I should have been in stocks first, probably. But so I've actually made a lot of money from stocks, and I just felt like he fucking lied to us. Like I don't want to overplay this. Like he literally said markets are going to boom. So I said, okay, cool. And I put some money in. Not every dollar I have, right? Again, there's no big crash out that occurred. That's what people are misanalyzing here. I'm actually tired of being lied to. It's now what, 3 months since Trump took office. I'm tired of the bullshit. I'm tired of the lies. Hey, what's up, Beth? What's up, Jay? Doug? Everybody else? Welcome. Let's get those numbers up. Share away. That tells Google's algorithm that this live stream is worth promoting, right? Worth pushing out to more people. And then they will. They'll push it out and we'll be above 100 soon, I'm sure. But yeah, so I thought, hey, our president's telling us to have some faith in the market. I'm not an anti-patriot, right? I love my country. Our president is telling us have some faith. Now's the time to put some money in. I did. And then his Liberation Day was just a complete attack on market confidence. It was completely not what he had foreshadowed. That big chart he held up of the monster tariffs he's imposing on all these countries, $2 trillion drop. Like Liberation Day, how does taking our fucking money liberate us? How does crashing our retirement accounts, how does that liberate us? I thought Liberation Day was going to be like, hey, no income tax for the next year, or hey, no capital gains on your Bitcoin if you hold it for more than a year or two. Instead, liberation days, we all got bent over and effed. I just don't appreciate that. I think it's gross. And the fact that I supported Trump over Kamala, I still don't like being lied to. I don't like being screwed over. So again, this was not a life-changing loss of money. It's essentially the principle that here I did something specifically because my president said so. Did something because my president said to do it, and I'll never trust this fucker again. And then we look backward. What happened to the audit of the Fort Knox gold? That went nowhere. It's now been months since he said he and Musk were going to go down there and audit it. What happened to that? He never mentions it. It seems like it was just some half-assed attack on gold investors, an attempt to pummel gold by making people so nervous, and instead had the opposite effect. And gold hit new all-time highs recently, above $3,100 a coin. Uh, that was another big lie. I was excited for the Fort Knox gold audit, not because I care about making or losing money, just because I want to, as an American, I'm curious to know if the shit's there. You know, he dropped the ball on that. This Pam Bondi so far, the amount of times I've seen her face on Fox, the number of interviews I've watched of this woman, yet not a single arrest, right? If she were an efficient attorney general, you'd imagine some of these interviews or some of these pressers would occur after you arrest somebody big. Hasn't happened. If you bought high, that's your fault. Again, that's an incredibly reductive and inaccurate assessment of why I'm upset. I did not lose everything I have, and telling me that I don't know how to market time and stuff. Okay, I'll show you the jet sometime. I know how to market time. uh, but yeah, so anyway, I consider resentment of the jet to be one of those low IQ cowbells. It's like when somebody's ringing that cowbell, I know there's something wrong. And again, I was very impressed with you guys for not freaking out on me until today, because people are looking for any kind of way to ding me, any way to make me look bad. And apparently, because I was mostly off the internet for 8 years, I'm a double agent controlled opposition. They sent me in to make Trump's like, what is the argument there? They sent me in to make Trump's tariffs look bad. Like, I don't own factories. I don't really give a shit about tariffs. I want my electronics and stuff to not cost a fortune. I have no interest one way or another in tariffs. I'm not like not making clothes in Asia. I don't give a shit. Uh, but yeah, this like rushed attempt to make me sound like something other than what I am. Actually, I'm just an American that's concerned that Trump has vaporized close to $11 trillion since January. That's my concern. And have I lost some money? Sure, but that's just showing me like that this is real. That's showing me that sure people are hurting right now, because if I had to rely on that money I'd put in, I'd be effed. Our president would have completely screwed me if I were a working class person. If I had watched that interview and thought my president's telling me to do something, guy's a liar. Guy's a fucking con artist. Sorry, he's better than Kamala. Guy's a liar. Fort Knox gold audit nowhere. Not a single arrest over Epstein Island. That weird binder stunt where the people came out of the White House with the Jeffrey Epstein Phase 1 binders. And then it went nowhere. Nor will it go anywhere. He was Epstein's neighbor for a decade. It'll never go anywhere. And Pam Bondi was Attorney General of Florida when Jeffrey Epstein was living in Florida and flying girls in and out, was engaged in international trafficking of underage persons while she was the Attorney General. She is about as Mr. Magoo. Again, Jeff, I don't know if you're a bot or something. Thank you for the Cracker Barrel wisdom that stocks go up and down. I didn't know that. Thank you. I'll get I'll get one of those little pillows that grandmothers have where you like quilt it, you know, you sew in some saying. Stocks go up and they go down. Jeff. Watch that be Jeff Bezos. He's like, hey man, I'm trying to give you good advice. Screw you. There we go. Someone speaking up. Someone just lost 40% of their investment profits, presumably since Trump's Liberation Day. 40%, folks. That's a lot of money. Again, this thing that's been theorized in the troll box that I lost every dollar I have because of Trump's tariffs, and now I'm out here trying to make the tariffs look bad. It's just not true. But here's a guy who lost 40%. That pisses people off. We didn't vote for take away half our money. Sorry, we didn't vote for that. Start arguments with countries we don't give a shit about and lose us half our money. That wasn't his campaign pitch. It really wasn't. Seaman, I block all Q-tards. Do you still follow that grift? Do you still follow that grift? No, I was one of the first journalists to call it out. I realize the timeline of the stuff that I reported on has been skewed by the fact that I haven't been here for 8 years. But I was one of the first journalists to say, hey, this QAnon stuff, it's all very titillating, all very tempting, but it's not actually coming in at all. The things that it'll say in 2 days, Hillary Clinton gets arrested, and then 2 months pass. And it's like, hey, what about the thing that Q said? So there are enough instances like that where I realized that it's not real. It's a bunch of scammers, or maybe it's somebody with good intent trying to get information out there by gamifying it. I think ultimately that caused more harm than good, if that's what it was. But no, I was one of the first journalists to say, this is bullshit. We want some arrests. We don't want little riddles of the week. And the WikiLeaks show you the real stuff. You don't need riddles. Most people are just so lazy. They don't want to read firsthand primary source information. Same with the JFK files, the stuff that came out. If you want to search through it, it's like the info is in there. I don't want to get this stream removed, but the info is in there. And so if you actually skim through enough of these CIA documents, you get a sense of who actually off JFK. I did a video on it that's pretty safe that people can watch. Correct. Yeah, you're right, Brad. That's who did it. Richard says, I do think we're being snookered. That's always been the case, not just now. Yeah, Trump, again, picked as his Treasury Secretary, the guy who's running this disastrous tariff thing. He picked a guy, Scott Bessent, who worked directly for George Soros for years. How do you do that? That'd be like picking a guy who worked for Obama to work in the Trump White House. So that make any sense? It wouldn't make much sense. This makes even less sense. The guy whose his entire world view was formed working for Soros, was formed while working alongside Soros. This guy never gave some famous speech where he disavowed Soros and shared with us what he thinks about the world. That never happened. There was no breakaway, as far as I've been able to tell. And this guy is now running the Treasury running the Treasury Department. We absolutely got snookered. And this tariff thing is so bad that it's broken the inverse Kramer phenomena. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but Jim Cramer on CNBC, whenever he says something, the opposite happens. Here, this is so bad that he said it was going to cause a market crash, and it did. And now Cramer is saying that unless Trump reverses course pretty fast here, I guess over the weekend, unless Trump reverses course, we're in for a possible Black Monday, like the 1987 crash. Possible Black Monday, according to Jim Cramer. So not good, folks. Yeah, Jay says, what's that old saying? You're pretty much who you are surrounded by. Yeah, why does Trump keep picking these ridiculously villainous, insidery people? This is his second term. They should all be pristine. They should all be absolutely pristine. Instead, it's Bessent, former Soros man Bessent, is running the Treasury. And the Commerce Secretary, the other man who's totally become a tariff zealot, Howard Lutnick, he was at Cantor Fitzgerald, like the sleazy Goldman Sachs, right? Like the Goldman Sachs with a really bad reputation. And a lot of conspiracy theories kind of focused around them. Not a great firm, according to many people. And that's where this boiler room guy came from. And now they're the two who are leading Trump down this yellow brick road of failure. And if the tariffs were so effing important, Why didn't Trump do this stuff in his first term? Because he's being misled by these finance guru losers. He's being misled by Besant and Lutnick. And I think to some extent, picking these people might have been payback, right, for helping Trump become reelected. He gives them great positions, but he doesn't have to keep them. You can get rid of these treasonous sacks. You can go ahead and toss them now. And finance guys are not the best leaders. They're not the best thinkers. They're really not the best leaders because they think about optimizing money for everything, right? It's like, how do we make the most money here? But there are many areas of life where that's not what you want. For example, your doctor. If you need like a brain surgery or something serious, you don't want the doctor whose motivation is how do I make the most money from you, right? You want the best trained doctor, the one with the best outcomes, etc. Uh, so you see where I'm going here, right? Is you got a guy like Lutnick who just has money brain coming from a glorified boiler room in New York City. And now he just thinks in transactional ways. Oh, if we just crash the stock market, we can lower the interest rates and then we could refinance the debt. He just thinks in this sociopathic transactional way, which is great if you're working at a bank. Who gives a shit? You're just there to make money. But when you're actually representing the country and the country's best interests, you can't have a guy who's just a money hobbyist, a guy whose focus is on making money and who doesn't have a broad view of the world, you know? Yeah, that's the theory is that they're intentionally crashing the market, and Trump even posted on Truth Social. He posted some TikTok video where the TikToker was suggesting that this is what he's doing. So for Trump to post that from his public page is kind of an endorsement, right? Here's what I'm doing. Uh, to crash the economy so that interest rates on the 10-year can go down, which is so dumb, to lose $10 trillion of Americans' money so that you can save billions of dollars per year in interest payments. This is why we don't want money people in charge. You don't want people who have no money. You don't want like Tim Walsh types or AOC, people who hate capital. You don't want these people in there because I think having some money shows a degree of like competence and personal hygiene almost, right? The ability to take care of yourself. But the people who come from the finance world, who only care about making money and whose minds are optimized for that, they're not going to be good statesmen. You know, they're not going to be good leaders, and they're not going to be good for us, good for all of us, rather than just good for some abstracted, oh, we brought interest rates down. Who cares that people in the comments have lost 40% since January? Interest rates are down, and the Financial Times will tell Trumpy he's doing a good job. That's not how you live your life, and it's not how you lead a country, you know? And to go back to my air travel thing, the air travel situation in the US has gotten so bad because it's people like Lutnick who have completely ripped apart every pleasurable moment of the experience, right? The food is shit. It's practically prison quality. It's like they literally hire the same mega contractors who feed people in prison, and they're running the airport bars and stuff. And the security theater, the TSA, the barking dogs walking through the body scanner every time, taking off your shoes for the one time somebody tried to harm an aircraft with shoes that were, you know, supposedly a bomb. This one guy ruined air travel for all of us. We have to take off our shoes till what, the end of time? That's not very scientific. The whole thing's a nightmare. And then you get in there and people fight with each other. People used to dress up when they traveled because you meet other people. They'd at least wear a polo shirt, if not actually dress up. Now people wear flip-flops and they get drunk at these shitty airport bars and they fight each other. They have cops like on standby to pull these people apart like they're at a stadium. So you're at an airport. You're the hub of culture. You know, like it's, it's gotten ridiculously bad. And I'm old enough to remember when air travel was fun, when going to like, you know, a family vacation to the beach. You weren't in fear of the airport or worrying about is the security line going to take forever. These weren't concerns, or worrying is somebody going to beat me up? Am I going to get into a bar brawl at the airport? It's gotten awful. It's gotten absolutely awful. And so I think Warren Buffett once said that he couldn't justify owning a private jet or using a private jet. He couldn't justify it, but he does anyways. I feel the opposite. It's like the most reasonable thing I've spent money on. If everybody could afford it, everybody would have one. Somebody says, I'm surprised they don't use cattle prods, right? It's like every element of humanity and naturalness has been sucked out of the airline experience. Even how the airport is just this weird hermetically sealed thing. You get no fresh air, right? It's all just fucking filtered garbage AC air. You get no natural air, no natural sounds, just the same stupid announcements on the intercom. Passenger so and so to terminal A40, and it's always someone who should not have a job anywhere close to a microphone. It's awful. You go to the airport, it's fucking awful. Do you think you'll ever go back on Joe Rogan? Do you have your episodes anywhere? I think there are now audio uploads of those episodes. You can find them on the internet if you search around. I think those are up there. I don't think the video still exists. Maybe it does. I don't think I'll be invited back on Rogan. I think I don't know. They tell you you're supposed to act like the main character of your life or something, but I've been sidelined. I've been very much sidelined and fringed. And again, getting this little bit of internet fame back, it almost feels like they're just like, here, go ahead, take your stuff, get out of here. I don't have impact anymore, and that's fine. I'm older, I'm less aggressive, but no, it feels like I'm not the main character of my own life because my stuff would be having more impact by now, and instead, people have just kind of preyed upon me and got out of a bad relationship with really just person not meant for me. And it's taken up a lot of time. My dad passed away over the summer. Uh, anyway, point being, these are like things that make me feel like I don't have much agency over my life. I don't feel like the Brad Pitt main character. I feel like some cameo. And even the comments like, "Oh, I remember you years ago. Hey." People never bothered to search for me on any other platforms where they would have found my Substack and subscribed years ago, right? They would have signed up with their email address and gotten my newsletter this whole time. But I'm such a side character that when I was banned here years ago, people just forgot about me. So point is, I don't think I'm big enough to ever go back on Rogan, which is fine. Jane says we are treated like cattle at airports and when traveling. Yeah, I mean that's my issue. Is all elements of humanity have been removed from the airport. It's just some neurotic. Uh, it's just some weird neurotic mishmash of like everything that's wrong with modern life in one place. Which air travel should be the opposite. Air travel is intrinsically pleasurable. And it's intrinsically pleasurable because we don't move faster than what, like 15 miles an hour or something if you're extremely fast runner. Short burst, maybe 10 or 15 miles an hour. So we don't encounter speed much in our lives. And then you get in a car, you think about how pleasurable a car drive is, and that's going maybe 70 miles an hour. You get in a thing that's it's all, high tech, and it goes at least 500 miles an hour. How is that not exciting? Like the fact they've managed to suck all the excitement out of that experience and in fact make you dread it shows you there's something wrong there. Politics ruined the airport, right? The TSA. Like if Trump really cares, where is getting rid of the TSA or completely reforming it to where it's just AI surveillance stuff? That's all you need at this point, from facial expressions and other biometrics, non-invasive biometrics. You could tell with like a 99.5% accuracy rate if someone is trouble or not. And this is what they use in China. They use this at public, malls and stuff in China. So the airport, you could replace all these fat sad fucks, all these fat sad creeps at the TSA. Could be replaced by just the bank of cameras and some chat GPT type thing. Just spots the troublemakers. And if you're a troublemaker, you have to go back and talk to somebody. and they check your bags or whatever. But for the rest of us, we should just be left alone. The fatty groping me at the airport thing, that's part of why I switched to private jets. It's part of why I just said I'm done with this. I'm not gonna let a member of the government just grope me for random reasons. Like he's like, we spotted a shadow. We need to pat you down. The shadow was just my genitalia. We spotted a shadow. It's like it's not a third leg, bro. They're just being groped in public by some dude. Had some pretty gnarly airport experiences. I think these are bad people. I think these are bad, shitty people. And if Trump really cared, he would shut that down or critically reform it. He doesn't care because he doesn't have to experience it. Typical Trump, right? He doesn't have to go through a TSA line. So he doesn't know how grating it is. I'm going to drop a link to the Substack in the troll box. There you guys go. I appreciate that, Jay. Says he remembered me for doing a good thing. Yeah, these people who try to talk poorly about me because I was the journalist who broke Pizzagate. I think leftoids completely altered and mutated every single aspect of that story. And I think my involvement in it was completely sound, absolutely sound. And it's not something I have any regrets about, other than that people tried to screw me over and silence me for covering it. But no, I covered the emails. I didn't lend credence to the QAnon garbage. I covered the actual primary source emails from WikiLeaks. I didn't fixate on any restaurants. I didn't see that as the focus of the scandal. I was not misled. I was silenced. I was not misled on that one. And the fact that so few people in MAGA camp care about going after John Podesta or any of the crazy child trafficking allegations, it shows what they are. It shows they don't actually care. They're just fixated on collapsing our economy with this retarded tariff stuff. Shows they don't actually care. Again, Pam Bondi has been on the Fox a million times. You should do an interview after you arrest somebody big, but she hasn't arrested a single one of these people yet. Not a single one. Somebody says they get my Substack. Hey, thank you. Appreciate that. Kara D says, I think back in the day, it wasn't so common to pay to subscribe to podcasters as it is now. You are a pioneer. Well, thank you. Yeah, I remember way back when I first learned about podcasts, something clicked for me because I started doing that silly little podcast in South Florida. And then one of my listeners tweeted Joe Rogan and said, you should have this guy on. And Rogan replied, said, hey, I'll look into him or whatever. Shortly after he invited me on, and I flew out to California and did his show. That's how easy things were back in the day. So I was just this little podcaster, and some random fan on Twitter liked my stuff and said, hey, Joe, have this guy on. And like that, I was on. But yeah, so podcasting for me, it just like really seemed obvious that to encapsulate a piece of content, like an interview, and then have that go out over an RSS feed as its own discrete thing, its own file. It struck me that that was the total reform of the media. That now that we had the technology, it was only a matter of time until podcasters became the most powerful people in media, right? And now we're more than a decade out from that realization. And it's the truth, right? The podcasters who have the biggest audiences are some of the most influential people on the planet. And it's very easy compared to old years. It's easier to get a big audience. All the more reason for us to be discerning All the more reason for us to be careful about some of these influencers and just make sure they have good minds. Everybody has their own preferences and stuff. Make sure you're listening to people who have good minds. Like there are a couple of people I won't start any, uh, I won't start any drama, but there are a couple of people out there with very big followings. And I just realized when they were talking about a couple of different topics that I know about that they don't know what they're talking about. It's that effect people talk about newspapers, right? Where they say you read a newspaper article that's about your industry and all the pertinent facts are wrong or inaccurate. And then you start to wonder, is the newspaper just as inaccurate about every other industry, every other field? Are they just ballparking it nonstop? Right. So that effect, that's how I feel about some of these mega influencers. Like are some of these people just fucking dummies, like just in it for the ad revenue and actually don't care, actually aren't very smart. Maybe you're like a little bit OCD or something, and they like the routine of doing the same thing over and over again for years, but they're actually not that smart. And again, there are a couple of these influencers where I just saw on a couple of topics I actually know a lot about that they were like not trying to deceive people, but just genuinely had no idea what they're talking about. And for me, anyways, uh, Bitcoin is one of those cowbells. Like I was sitting at a bar one day. The guy was trying to convince me that he was some Bitcoin zillionaire, and within 30 seconds, I knew he was just some creep because the dates didn't add up. And it's because I know so much about Bitcoin, right? You tell me the price of where it was in 2011, and it's completely off from where it was at any point in the year. And you start talking to me about miners and stuff. And there's no way you mined even a full Bitcoin from the way that you're describing it and your hash rate and your setup and stuff. That I know you're full of shit. And that's just one field. Uh oh. The smoke alarm chirp. You guys heard it. I think my neighbor is a big vapor or something because it's not me. I've already discussed this with the building. I've got a neighbor who either cooks all day or vapes away or something because it randomly sets off my smoke alarm. And you can see I've been here talking to you guys. I haven't been cooking in the kitchen, have not been vaping, have not been smoking a doobie. I've been here. There's no change in the atmosphere, right? So I think most likely a neighbor just has their little smoke break or something, and it must float over. Nope, it's a brand new smoke alarm. It's not a battery issue. It's brand new. This isn't the projects. I know that sometimes people will do videos with the smoke alarm chirp in the background, but no, this is a nice place. It's brand new smoke alarm. Robert says, I noticed the more conscious you are, the less you can be deceived. Yeah. I mean, this guy earlier who was saying that I'm controlled opposition and that I ended my stream because his call out of me was so profound. People like that actually think they're smart, and they're the ones who need discernment. You need to wake up in the morning and ask yourself, "Am I right?" As my late dad once said, as he used to tell me, "Don't believe your own BS. It's fine if everybody else believes it. Don't believe your own line of bullshit. You got to be your own critic." In other words, it's not that I put out stuff that I don't believe in. It's just you have to truly be your own critic. And does that make logical sense? Am I really controlled opposition? Or is some puppeteer now letting me descend back into podcast land and talk to you guys? Is that what's really going on? Or are you just threatened because you love Trump in some weird parasocial way? You have this deep love for Trump, even though you've never met him. To me, Trump was just a better choice than Kamala. I don't have any personal ties to this individual. I don't have any personal love for him. It's just the better of the two options. But some of these people, again, it's like I'm calling out somebody they know because they have this parasocial relationship with him, where it's like, oh, Trump's been through so much. He doesn't even know who you are. He doesn't. appreciate you defending him in my troll box. He doesn't even know who you are. Uh, how can it be a low battery chirp when it's a brand new smoke alarm? And maintenance has already checked it out once. We'll get to the bottom of it though. Maybe I'll do a video on this. I'll tear that thing off the wall and figure it out. Yeah, here I'm in the castle, and it sounds like I'm in the projects. I got the smoke alarm chirp. I'm gonna end this one soon because that's just ridiculous. I'm gonna end that one, remove the smoke alarm from the wall, and then maybe we'll reschedule this for the future. But yeah, you got to have a lot of discernment. So going back to this random guy, he has to come up with all these theories that I'm owned by, owned by foreign powers, and I'm being propped up just to make Trump's tariffs look bad. No, Trump's tariffs look bad on their own. The $10 trillion market loss looks bad. Somebody says, "Are you emotionally impacted by what's going on with your portfolio instead of being objective about the long-term goal with these tariffs?" Again, there's no great vision with the tariffs. It's dog shit. It's Howard Lutnick and Besant. You should watch the first part of this live stream. When I end it in a second, watch the first part because I already answered your question basically. Besant used to work for George Soros. His views on the world came from Soros, his teacher. He's a globalist. For some reason, Trump has him running point on tariffs, and it's going to destroy our economy. If the $10 trillion shave from the market since January hasn't already made that clear, it's going to destroy our fucking economy. And I don't own factories overseas. I don't care if the cost of labor or whatever increases or decreases. And nor did I lose some massive amount of money. That's what I was explaining at the beginning is I don't like that Trump lied to us. He said things are going to boom. Things are going to boom after his Liberation Day speech. And then Liberation Day was him just bending us over. Liberation Day was a total fucking scam. It wasn't the end of income tax. It wasn't the end of crypto capital gains. It was some goofy chart he held up that crashed the market because people saw how crazy it is. How crazy it is to impose a 40% tax on importing all the stuff that we need to make computers. Are we going to go back to the dark ages? Like, we don't have all the stuff in America to make microchips. We just don't. We don't have all the rare earth minerals and stuff. Like, why are we doing this? It's fucking crazy. And if it's so important, why did Trump never care about it in his first term? Again, it's Lutnick and it's Besant. I don't know why Trump picked these two people in the first place. This is their vision, and it's not going to be a successful vision. So I'm sharing my knowledge with people. That's all I'm doing. I'm not controlled opposition. I'm saying, wow, this looks like dog shit. As a person who's seen dog shit before, this looks like it 100%. And Trump, maybe if enough people like me speak out, maybe Trump will change his mind in time. Maybe I'll help save the country in a sense. Total opposite of controlled opposition. I'm going to take care of the smoke alarm and let you guys go. Have a beautiful weekend. God bless you all. Maybe we remain a great country. I think our greatness comes from us. I don't think it comes from some politician telling us we're great. I don't think it comes from Scott Bessent lowering the interest rates. I think it comes from all of us.